5 seconds remaining. LGD International's turn to ban.
Welcome to the International 3 group stages. This is LGD International versus Orange.
LGD
Both of these teams are a little bit on the back footing in their group stage ranking so far. LGD.int, I believe, are 1-6, I want to say. I think Orange is 3-3. Could be wrong about that. I need to check. In fact, I'm going to do that right now, because I need to know. I must know.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Yes, Orange is 3-3.
Orange's turn to pick.
LGD is actually 2-4. So these are pretty important games for both of these teams. The placement in your group will determine whether you go into the upper or the lower bracket, and that's a pretty big deal, because if you go into the lower bracket, it's just a best of one that separates you in elimination from the tournament, which it's pretty harsh, but it makes sure that these prelim games really matter, and that every team is trying their hardest for every single game.
5 seconds remaining.
And that's definitely what we're seeing. So it's working,
LGD
harsh though it may be.
Turn to pick.
But let's get into the draft for this game. I will admit right off the bat that I've only cast LGD.int maybe once, so in terms of their players and their play style, I'm not as familiar. I know that they've been struggling pretty much ever since the G1 League, where they placed second. But that was about 6 months ago, and since then they haven't posted a result.
10 seconds remaining.
So they've been having a little bit of trouble. Orange has posted consistently solid results. They haven't won any tournaments, but they've consistently placed in 3rd, 4th.
Reserve time.
And generally 3rd and 4th place in all the Chinese tournaments, Super League, G1 League, Alienware Cup, Red Bull, all that stuff. They're placing highly, and they're always taking games off, and have the ability to beat teams like LGD, DK, and Tongfu, the kind of the trio of the dominant Chinese teams. So in this matchup, I would say Orange comes in the favorites. But we'll see. All things are possible. There have been a lot of creative drafts going around, and a lot of Timbersaw, in fact, which is part of why we see him here today. In fact, we've seen him in almost every game. OD is also just he's in every game. Razor's made a number of appearances. Like there's a lot of picks that I really enjoy seeing. I think all of those are fun heroes. OD may be the most boring of them all, but I still think he has some cool aspects to him. Timbersaw is definitely a delight to see, however. But for this draft, Orange have picked up the most highly favored support, Visage. Everyone wants a piece of Visage, and Orange will have that this game. Really good for tri-lanes, and Orange generally likes to be more aggressive, which Visage definitely supports. One of the things that's great about Visage as a support is that you can run him in so many different ways. He's optimal in a tri-lane where there's lots of damage being racked up in multiple sources, pump out soul assumption. But you can do aggressive tri-lanes, you can do defensive tri-lanes. He transitions well into the late game, which is it's good in the mid game. He's good for whatever you want to do, which is part of the reason that he's so valuable. Plus he offers some stuns and
10 seconds
plenty of damage to boot. They also get the Weaver and the Queen of Pain.
5 seconds remaining.
Remains to be seen which one of these is Mushi's hero. I kind of my gut is telling me it's a KYXY Queen of Pain. Could be wrong about that. I sometimes get Orange's roles mixed up, but I believe it's X and Extinct and Net that are the supports. Ohio's the 3 position, KYXY is the 2, and Mushi they swap up the 1, 2, and 3 sometimes. Mushi is usually in the heavy farming role, but sometimes he'll go mid. Mushi is an extremely versatile carry player, which is why he's one of my favorite players, and I wanted to make sure that I cast at least one series of Orange in the prelims here. Orange will also pick up the Naga Siren. Really good for team fights, and they've got a lot of AoE with Queen of Pain. So lots of time for her to set up and have a great day. It looks to be a support Naga Siren, given there's already a Weaver and a Queen of Pain. So No big shockers there. LGD.int, they're going for a lot of push, really. They can be really aggressive. They've got the Lifestealer,
10
who is
seconds
pretty strong
remaining.
versus Queen of Pain, really. Naga Siren is a nice way of dealing with
5
Lifestealer,
seconds
which is
remaining.
part of the reason we've seen Naga showing up more and more. The net,
Orange's turn
the
to
ensnare
pick.
works pretty well at slowing him down. It's kind of like having a purge from Shadow Demon. They also get the Chen and the Bane for their supports, so it's likely going to be a defensive tri-lane. Or, I don't know. I'm trying to think about how they're going to lane this. It could be an off-lane Timbersaw, and if it is, I would worry a little bit. Orange at the moment doesn't have the lockdown necessary to kill a
10
Timbersaw, so he
seconds
could
remaining.
function in that off-lane. The problem is just mana, and
5 seconds remaining.
if you force Timbersaw to Timber Chain too much, then he can
Reserve
theoretically run out of mana. And he's not going to get any farm in the off lane, which I think that's a problem for Timbersaw. He does need, at the very least, Arcane Boots as early as possible. Likes to get things like a Bloodstone. That's what most players are building on him these days is a Bloodstone. Seen other things like Yules, Sheepstick, Lincoln Sphere, lots of different possibilities, but most often it's the Bloodstone, simply because you can build it out of the Arcane Boots. LGD will round it out with a Dragon Knight, so it looks, if I had to prognosticate, it's going to be a Dragon Knight mid, Bane and Chen with Lifestealer up at top, and Timbersaw down at bottom in the off lane. Orange, depending on what they want to run here, they could do... It's dangerous to do a 1v1 versus Timbersaw, because then you're guaranteeing he's getting a lot of farm. But they don't have an offlaner at the moment. It seems to be the big decision for Orange. They could run the aggressive tri-lane, go with Weaver, Naga Siren, Visage, which you've got the damage for it. Riptide plus Sakuchi and any auto attacks are enough to get the soul counters up for Soul Assumption. And the net is enough to Sable to keep someone in range. And since there's two ranged heroes here, Visage and Weaver, it would work. Weaver in a 1v1 versus Timbersaw would not function particularly well. So if Orange wants to go for the aggressive tri-lane, they need to pick a very strong solo, someone with like a lone druid. In fact, that is exactly what I think is it's a good solution, at least for the laning phase for Timbersaw. Now, the Entangle does not stop the Timber Chain, so that doesn't provide any legitimate lockdown for Timbersaw, but in terms of the laning phase, it does. He'll beat Timbersaw, and he's not worried about the harass of the Whirling Death. His bear will take the damage and be okay with it. It's not that big of a concern. Trying to think if I see any major advantages or disadvantages between these lineups. It could be an offlane lone druid too. I don't think it's going to be, particularly because Ohio is on the Weaver. I think he generally plays the solo offlane, or generally plays the 3 position. So we'll see what happens. So on the Radiant side this time, we've got Orange. First game I'm casting them in this, and actually LGD International as well. So this is two teams I haven't cast before in this tournament. Ohio is going to be on that Weaver. Net will be on the support Naga Siren. KYXY on this Lone Druid. Mushi will be playing that very high impact Queen of Pain, and Extinct on the Visage. I really like that Mushi's on the Queen of Pain. Mushi's an aggressive player and loves to be on high impact heroes, and Queen of Pain is nothing if not both of those. For LG International, we've got Brax on the Timbersaw, Misery on Bane. G, also known as God, he'll be on Dragon Knight. Pycat on Lifestealer, and 1437 on that Chen. I haven't seen 1437's Chen before, probably because I haven't seen much of 1437, so I don't know what to expect from his Chen play. I would expect good things, given that they've spent so much time training over the last year. If you don't know the story of LGD International, they live in a team house. They're actually an international team composed of several different countries that the Chinese organization LGD brought together under one roof, brought them to China, and it's kind of an experiment to see, can you just take, can you collect a team together, train them, under a specific way and produce results. Initially, the results were positive because they placed second in the G League and they did really well. But since then, they still have a lot to prove. And it's kind of because I don't watch them often enough, I don't know what their biggest weaknesses are, but from what I've heard, it always comes down to execution. Over in mid, Mushi versus God. Queen of Pain has an advantage over Dragon Knight. The constant use of the Shadow Strike will be a problem for a hero like Dragon Knight, who wants to be getting a bottle as early as possible. And Shadow Strike prevents you from bottling up, which means that it's possible for Mushi to zone G out to some extent. It actually looks like Orange is running a defensive tri-lane here. I thought for a second that they might do the aggressive tri-lane, but because LGD.int is doing a bit of kind of an aggressive dual lane, I guess you could say, it's just Bane with Lifestealer, which I'm not sure what the purpose of this is. They can stand up to this, but it's a little unfortunate for Lone Druid. You don't really want to have him sharing experience. I mean, he's an okay tri-lane hero, but it's better to be getting levels because you want to get that bear leveled up as fast as possible. Level 5 is very important for Lone Druid so that he can start entangling. It makes him much more of a threat, particularly in 1v1 circumstances. And 14337 will rotate down to bottom. This is a very early rotation, and he's only got Satyr Tormentor, who provides some harass, but no lockdown. It's not too much of a threat. The bigger problem potentially for Orange is him stealing pulls and taking control of their jungle, because Orange is definitely reliant on these pulls. Gonna be a lot of positing around here. Oh, Net. He could get trapped inside here. Yeah, he's stuck. Actually, the stun procs from the Centaur. Net will escape out. Actually, Force Blood giving up by 1437. Extinct comes around from the side. Oh, this could be a nice block. Not quite. Is there enough mana for a Net? It's coming up in 5 seconds. But the Brain Sap is here, so we'll keep him alive for the time being. But the Soul Assumption, not enough mana for it. Finish off with a Shockwave from 1437, so nice use of the Shockwave there. And Net will be forced to run away, and the Brain Sap is coming back off cooldown in a second. Net has to get away. And there's a few more Shockwaves available on this creep, so 1437, he ends up giving up the first blood. They find a return kill, but ultimately I don't think it's worth it for LGD.int. Slowing down your Chen's early game, and especially doing it by giving up first blood unnecessarily, seems a little risky to me. I thought for a second that Net might have been in a lot of trouble there because he was trapped right in this little pocket right here. He could have been blocked in, but a very fortunate stun from the Centaur stunned everybody in the area, allowed him to walk out, and then Extinct, with his good timing, showed up with full charge Soul Assumption and blasted 1437. Haven't talked about the Weaver Timbersaw matchup that much. It's pretty even for the time being, but I feel like it should favor Timbersaw because of how much damage he can deal, and it's very reliable damage. At any point that Ohio steps in the line of sight between Brax and a tree, he can Timber Chain and then uses Whirling Death, which is a lot of damage in that combo. I would like to see 1 point in Timber Chain to make sure that he can pull that combo off, because without it, I don't think he's going to get any Whirling Deaths onto Ohio, and with it, he could really zone him out. So this is a matchup that I think should favor Timbersaw, but depending on play and skill order, may be pretty even. And for the time being, it is exactly even. 19-4 versus 19-3. Over in mid, G's getting his farm. He's not winning the lane, but 20-11 on Mushi versus 16-0 on G. So he's having a pretty fine time. Invis is up on Net. I don't know that he'd be able to make anything out of this. One of the sad parts of... Actually, level 4 on KYXY already. Oh, there's a Net onto Misery. He can Brain Sap his way through this, but the Grave Chill is used immediately afterwards. Nightmare onto Extinct, holding him off for the time being. Nice Soul Assumption from Extinct. Good trading of the Nightmare there. Ooh, they gotta save the bear. Yeah, excellent trading of the Nightmare there. KYXY actually taking it off of Extinct so that he could get his Soul Assumption charges off. So that helps secure the kill there, and nice play. I didn't think they'd be able to get it, but so they do. Looks to be another rotation from 1437. They really want to be aggressive about this, and I don't know. Seems dubious to me. They do force a resummon of the bear out of KYXY, but this, I don't know what 1437 is hoping to accomplish here. He's still level 2 at 5 minutes into the game, and he could be level 4 right now. He could also be in his own jungle, and he could help out the top lane. He could help out mid. It's possible to gank Mushi if you get the right creeps. Mostly a Dark Troll summoner. So I feel that a lot of this time is wasted for him, and he's just stealing experience from Pycat and Misery. It's going to get harder to stay in this lane for LGD, because now that the bear is level 5, that entangle guarantees a lot of auto attacks from the bear, and it also has its own damage over time effect to it. Mushi trying to jockey for the rune here.
Radiant's middle tower is under
Should be able to
attack.
get it. He has to be careful. There's a lot of damage on that Dragonite with the poison. Things are still pretty even up at top. Brax is just slightly ahead still, 28 and 10 versus 25 and 4 in Ohio. But I guess the big story for this game is the pseudo try versus try. I guess it's a try versus try with Chen in here, but I mean he's level 2. He doesn't do much. I don't know. But KYXY, he's farming pretty decently, 25 and 9 versus 18 and 3 on Pycat. Which, oh, there's the open wounds onto Extinct, but nice net from net onto Pycat. Make sure that he can't continue chasing. There's the soul assumption charges get used a little bit late, but 1437, he's gonna feed another kill here. One more right click from net, and he does go down. Pycat, he would love to find a return kill here, but no. In fact, he may just end up feeding a kill of his own, and in fact, he does go down. Extinct picking up the kill there. This tri lane for LGD International is not going well. I hate to beat the same drum over and over again, but what is 1437 doing down there? What is his purpose? He has done nothing but fed 2 kills and pushed LGD.int into a situation where they end up feeding more kills. So I don't know. The decision making is really the problem here. Mushi's having a grand old time in mid. Unlikely that he'll rotate anytime soon, particularly because the other lanes are going decently for Orange. One X factor for LGD.int. Ooh, there's a lot of heroes around here for Mushi. He doesn't pick up the DD. I don't know why he didn't pick up the DD. Looks like a bit of a misclick there, and it could cost him his life. And in fact, oh, nice juke there from Mushi. Heads left when they thought he was going to go down, and that will save his life. But not picking up the DD is a bit of a cost. He could have just bottled up and returned back to the lane, no problem. Now he ends up giving a DD to Dragonite. So 1437 rotates middle. They want to start working on this tower, which is certainly a more useful thing that he could be doing. Extinct and net will rotate towards mid, and can they save the tower in time? The Fortify has already been used. Grave Chill gets used on G. Can they? Oh wow, the Soul Assumption gets used on Bane, and he goes down. But however, Ohio goes down. There's a kill onto Brax. This fight is all over the place. The Sonic Wave used by Mushi. Wow. Buybacks immediately from Brax, and he gets back in there and finds a return kill onto net, but he's got to be careful here. Cannot feed any more kills. Ooh, Mushi. If they get a kill on Brax, it's disastrous. He can Timber Chain his way around, but just a lot more right clicks. Look at all the health regen he's getting. Yes, and Mushi will finish him off. A buyback into another death from Brax. Pretty disastrous for LGD.int, and they don't get the tower. The tower gets denied. Perfect timing from Orange. They bait it out. They lure LGD.int into thinking it's a safe engagement, and then they teleport in at just the right time, force them to choose between auto-attacking the tower and fighting the heroes. The only big cost there was the death of Ohio, but in the scheme of things, that's Mushi getting more kills, and that's a denied tower. So, pretty good for Orange overall. That'll put them at, I mean, even with the tower deny, they're almost 3,000 gold, nearly 5,000 experience ahead. That's a big experience lead at 10 minutes into the game. So I'm feeling pretty worried for LGD.int. Their late game is certainly not better than Orange's, and their mid game is on par if they're performing well, and they are not. G has rotated up the top. There's nobody in middle currently. Not sure what the rationale behind this is. Oh, there's a Nightmare onto Extinct. They're trading it back and forth. This is really good. Really good by Orange. Trading the Nightmare back and forth to make sure that they can get the Soul Assumptions off. And Misery, they can dive this. No problem. It's a double kill for Ohio, so his death more than made up for. 11-3 at 10 minutes into this game. Orange are taking a commanding position, and they're going to look to start taking towers. They don't even have a strong pushing lineup right now, but that is certainly what they could do. I really think it all begins with the lanes from LGD.int. I don't know about having this pseudo tri-lane with Chen attempting to aggressively jungle, especially when there's, I mean, against a Visage and a Naga Siren, long range, easy to disable, lots of reliable damage, and Chen is pretty squishy.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
He really suffers against Visage because of how little HP he has. Now, there's an infest here onto Brax, and there's a smoke up by G and Misery. They could find KYXY. Sees them a little bit late. Can he get in range? Yeah, there we go. Gets the Nightmare off on KYXY, but he trades the Nightmare with his Bear. Is there enough follow-up here from LGD.int? It looks like they've dove too far. Brax is very slow to respond here. He should have been there with him, and he ends up... Bane goes down. Pycat's trying to finish off KYXY, but it's just not going to happen. The sleep is used by Net. Looks like Orange is pondering continuing this engagement. They're thinking about it. They probably don't want to. Yeah, Mushi is too low. KYXY is too low. It's just not a fight that they can take. But they disengage successfully, and I don't know. Brax should have been there with them when they were going on KYXY. If he had, then they probably could have taken him down, especially with Pycat infested inside of him. But they weren't immediately there, and it just doesn't go right for LGD.int. Another, feeding more kills and wasting a lot of time too. They do blow the sleep. That's the only unfortunate thing for Orange. You never want to have to use the sleep defensively. It's always more desirable if you can use it to set up kills, to create things, create opportunities. But in the scheme of things, the way things are going for Orange, that's really okay. They're a 5,000 gold lead right now, almost 7,500 experience. And they'll start working on this bottom tier 1. Can LGD do anything about it? 1437. He's still level 5 at 13 minutes into the game. He's got to have the Hand of God.
Dire's bottom tower has fallen.
Don't want to focus too much on one player, but if you pick the Chen, Hand of God is a big part of his kit. It's not just the creeps. You're not playing StarCraft. Misery's kind of hanging out mid. He really wants to get his level 6, which he's going to wait to teleport until he has that. Which I do like that decision, to make sure that you get your level 6 on your Bane, because they definitely need it. G is hanging out up top, and does he have something on the courier? I feel like he should have more than he does, given that it's 14 minutes in. And yeah, you can see it's pretty hard to kill Brax. Ooh, there's a rotation for Misery. Yeah, the time lapse has been used. If there's a teleport in, yeah, Pycat shows up too. That's a kind of overkill for this, really. Misery, he's trapped under the tower. Nice defensive Nightmare is not going to matter. So it's a 1-for-1. A big investment onto that kill for LGD. I mean, Pycat shows up at the very end and doesn't really accomplish a whole lot.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
And I don't know. They kill Ohio. That's good. It feels like they invested a lot for that, and they still end up giving them a kill because they're diving the top tier 1.
Radiant's bottom
It just seems like
tower has fallen. Dire's middle
the
tower
decision making
under
is not
attack.
good. That's the mid tier 1. About to drop here.
Dire's middle
To
tower
orange.
has fallen.
Pycat's farm is not too fantastic right now. He's pretty far behind. Phase boots and nothing else. It looks like he's going straight for an armlet, but one of the things is like you can't really go for phase if you don't get drums. At least on Lifestealer. Specifically, because you need the attack speed to proc feast more often, and you really want the extra move speed that drums provide. So he's going straight for an armlet. And I tend to favor the phase drums on Lifestealer if you're not going for the treads. Treads used to be the de facto build on Lifestealer, and then people realize, well, he's a melee carry, strength hero, easily kited, needs move speed, so phase drums. On a somewhat separate note, a little bit sad about how drums have turned out to be as an item in this game. I think the Fiend's Grip, it just took me a second to realize what's going on here. The Fiend's Grip gets used on the bear. It is 300 gold. Probably worth it. It's only 90-second cooldown, so it's not that costly, but still a pretty large investment for just a bear. 300 gold, but just a bear. Yeah, drums have entered, I believe, kind of a sad state in Dota. I always perceived them as a support item when they were first implemented, and they were, I thought, very cool as a support item. It feels very good as a support to be picking up drums. But these days, it's pretty much a carry item. You want them to stay on top of people. It's the move speed and just the great stats that it provides, which are all things that a support would want, but many carries are actually more favored towards. So can LGD.int challenge this top push? Orange has positioned themselves very aggressively. Mushi, he's sitting in the back. He's got a level 2 Sonic Wave. He's just about finished his Orchid. If they can take this tower down, can they get the deny? Yes, they can. Good deny from God.
Dire's top tower has been denied.
But nonetheless, even with the deny, that's gonna be Mushi's Orchid, and life gets scary for LGD.int with a 17-minute Orchid on Queen of Pain. Arcanes are up on net. He's got 1,200 gold on top of that, so he's feeling pretty good. Extinct has his mechanism. KYXY, he's going for a more all-around build. He's got the Basilius, a Cloak, and Tranquils up on his hero, and then Orb of Venom, Phase, and looks to be a Maelstrom coming up on his bear. For LGD.int, Brax has built a point booster. Ooh, they're smoked up. They might want to find a kill here. Oh, they walk straight into Extinct. There's the Dragon Tail. The sleep is immediately popped by net, and this is going to give time for Orange to set up exactly how they want on top of them, and this is a pretty bad situation for LGD. The Sonic Wave is used on G alone. The Hand of God is popped, but it does not save G's life. Brax is timber chaining back and forth, but not able to find any major damage. Mushi should be able to chase down 1437. Okay, Misery's going to try and teleport out. Is there a route? Is there a route? Yes, there is. It's a 3 for none in favor of Orange. Wow. It looked like a nice idea from LGD.int, but they stunned the wrong person. Admittedly, they did not see net, but you have to kill Naga Siren first. Otherwise, they can just completely restart the engagement, or at the very least, get her stunned up. But that's not what LGD.int did, and end up just feeding 3 more kills, and they're mid-tier 2 to Orange. There are now only 1 outer tower remaining for LGD.int. So they've lost a lot of their map control, and the dire side advantage is quickly vanishing as they are not really going to have the control to handle the Roche Pit. 2,000 gold on net. I really am curious what he's going to build. The gold advantage at this point, just about to dip into the 10,000 range. Same thing for experience, 10,000 there. Medallion and Aquila up on Ohio. He's got 1,400 gold after that. Some early game strength, and he can actually 1v1 against Pycat pretty nicely. His build here, I like the maxing out the Swarm. It's good AoE. Helpful for farming these waves, and I believe it reduces the cooldown. Yes, it does. Not by overly much. It's only 37, but More swarms means more vision, means more knowledge, among other things. You can feed a lot of gold with it because each beetle is worth 30, but not the worst thing in the world. It's not like familiars. Ultimate orb up in Ohio, so it looks like he's headed for the Lincoln Sphere. Orange take the last remaining outer tier tower. LGD.int's grouped up top, and then they'd love to find a tower kill, a second one. One that isn't denied. And they'll probably be able to get it. Orange will just choose to take the Roche, and this is a trade that they're happy to take. With the medallion, we'll go down pretty quickly, and they've got the bear to tank it as well. Plus they got familiar stuns.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
Helps out pretty nicely. That Bloodstone is still getting built for Brax. 21 minutes in. Getting a Bloodstone past the 25 to 30 minute mark. It's still okay, but it's just not that powerful. You really want to have it in time for getting kills, and haven't really been any kills for LGD.int. So Mushi's got that Orchid, and he's got something else on the way. And it's an ultimate orb, so he's going for a Scythe of Vice. Oh, Pycat, he gets netted up. He infests inside of a creep. There's an immediate TP response from LGD.int, but I don't know. Pycat will save his life with that infest. Look bad for him for a second there. Can be pretty hard to kill Lifestealer. Between Rage and Infest, he has a lot of ways for making his way through. G has picked up a Shadow Blade, so he should be able to make it through this. I don't think there's a gem up. Oh, there is a gem on Extinct. So he's off to the side here. Will Extinct scout it out? Oh, they see him. Nope, no chance. He steps out way too early. He mistimed that. He should have been a lot more patient. So G feeds another kill. Mechanism is coming up on 1437, but I think the damage on Orange is getting pretty strong right now. The Maelstrom is up on KYXY. His bear, even. And he's got 22,000 gold on top of that. Take a look at the net worth. Mushi chopping the charts. What am I missing here? Oh, there we go. KYXY is being gone on by Pycat, so the Aegis gets used up. Hand of God gets used, trying to keep 1437 alive. KYXY, however, he will just get... Wow, it's still a 2-for-1 despite how this is going, because in the back lines, Orange is taking everybody else out. Ohio, he's going up against Misery. The net will make sure he doesn't go anywhere. Pycat does not have his infest. He will try to run away, but running into the jungle means he's got nowhere to go. So despite KYXY going down, it's still a 3-for-1 in favor of Orange, and they can probably push into the base as a result of this. They'll also get 1437's creeps. So it looked like a potentially good fight for LGD.int, but Orange was ready. They just jumped right on top of him. That's a Vlad's pickup for net. And he's got 1,800 gold after that, so he's actually farming really well for support Naga Siren. It's really nice to have that Vlad's as well. For the sake of the bear, KYXY's bear. Ooh, Dragon Trail onto Ohio. He's not going to get the... Ooh, nice sleep from net. It's going to interrupt the Fiend's Grip, allow Ohio to get that time-lapse off. Beetles are applied. Sonic Wave lands on the 2. G and 1437 go down basically immediately. Misery will soon to follow, and... LGD.int, they just can't take a fight. It's 14,000 gold, 15,000 experience, and they call the GG. 24 minutes in, it's 23-5. Orange give no room to LGD.int in this game. I don't know what LGD.int's lanes were. I think the only lane that really went in their favor was Brax versus Ohio. Timbersaw against Weaver should do fine. I think Brax probably could have done better, but he kind of needed to rotate sooner. Once you hit level 6, you're a killing machine, and you can make things happen around the map. Particularly down in that bottom lane. Maybe not against Mushi because he's able to blink, but the mid lane was not a good matchup for LGD.int. They send up a Dragon Knight against a Queen of Pain, and that's only going to go one way. It's going to go 808 on Mushi. So that wasn't going to end well. And the aggressive tri-lane, I've talked about this enough probably, but sending Chen into an aggressive tri-lane to aggressively jungle when there's a Visage, it's not going to work out. And it didn't work out. 1437 ended up feeding not just 2 kills, I think it was 3 kills and the first blood as a result of going down there. Had no impact on this game whatsoever. So really questioning the Chen pick. It's starting to kind of feel like something can happen at these LAN events is that picks tend to trend. Timbersaw is definitely trending, and he doesn't necessarily fit into this lineup. And can really mess with how lanes get run. When teams are playing games all day, they can kind of get lose sight of the bigger picture, is how I would put it. And that may be a case of what's happening to LGD.int here. In any case, let's get into game 2 once it's up.